It's amazing, isn't it? Just how much digital platforms have become a part of how we spend our free time.
Yeah, it really is.
And today we're going to kind of look at one specific example of that. Online football betting in Bangladesh.
Okay.
Now, Bangladesh, they've got a population of about 163 million people.
Wow. That's a lot.
Huge, right. And they're really into sports,
I would imagine so, yeah.
especially football, right?
I would think so.
So it's really no surprise that this whole online betting thing has just blown up there.
It's probably a really big market.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're going to try to unpack today. We're going to go through a source we found, and we're going to take a look at, all the different sites that people in Bangladesh can use to bet on football.
That sounds interesting.
So think of this as like a guide
Okay.
to help you understand this whole landscape a little bit better.
Okay, so like who are the main players and what are some of the things we should think about if we're interested in this?
Exactly. Yeah. And before we jump into all of that, we have to talk about the law, right?
Right.
I mean, betting in Bangladesh is governed by something called the 1867 Gambling Act.
1867.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a while ago.
Yeah. It's an old law.
Things have changed a lot since then.
Right.
Yeah. So does that even apply to online stuff?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It was written way before the internet even existed, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of created the situation where a lot of people in Bangladesh, they end up using these international betting sites instead.
So there's kind of a gap between the old law and the new technology.
Exactly. So what we're going to try to do is by the end of this, you should have a really good idea of what your options are if you're in Bangladesh and you want to bet on football online.
Okay, so we'll talk about the sites, the features, the legal stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hopefully some tips on how to do it safely and maybe even successfully.
Fingers crossed.
So I guess to start off, why don't we talk about why this has become such a big thing in Bangladesh? Like, why are so many people betting on football online?
Well, I think the main reason is it's just so much easier than it used to be.
Right. Way more convenient.
Exactly. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just do it right from your phone, your computer, whatever you have.
Yeah. Any time of day or night.
Exactly. And it's not just that. The sheer number of betting options that you have online is just mind-blowing compared to what you would have had before.
That's true. You can bet on pretty much anything these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can place your bets before the game even starts, like what they call pre-match betting.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you can wait, see how the game is going, and bet while it's happening. It's called live betting, and it can be pretty intense.
Oh, I bet the odds must change like every minute.
Oh, they definitely do. And
Yeah.
the types of bets you can make are way more diverse, too. You've got your simple single bets, which is just betting on one thing.
Right, right.
Then you have accumulator bets, where you combine a bunch of bets into one. So if they all come in, you win big.
But if even one of them loses.
You lose the whole thing.
Yeah, ouch.
And then there's system bets, which are kind of a variation on accumulator bets, a little less risky.
Oh, interesting. So there's something for everybody.
Exactly.
Now, the source that we're looking at, they actually recommend reading these betting site reviews.
Oh, yeah. Those are really helpful.
What do you think are some of the most important things that people should be looking for in those reviews?
Well, I think the first thing is they should check what sports the site covers. Like, we're talking about football here, but maybe someone in Bangladesh is also into cricket or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cricket is huge over there.
Right. So you want to make sure that the site actually offers bets on the sports that you're interested in.
Definitely. What else?
And also, you want to see what languages the platform supports. That's something that a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, you need to be able to understand what you're betting on.
Exactly.
And what about the financial side of things?
Okay, so for that, you want to look at the payment options that the site offers.
Right. Like, how do you actually get your money on and off the site?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these international sites that are catering to Bangladesh, they offer a whole bunch of different methods.
Oh.
You've got your credit cards, debit cards, direct bank transfers.
Right.
And then there's a whole bunch of e-wallets as well.
Like PayPal, things like that.
Yeah, PayPal, Neteller, Skrill.
Okay.
But one that's really popular in Bangladesh, because a lot of people use it over there, is bCash.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. That's like a mobile wallet, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
because it's so widely used, a lot of these sites, they've made it super easy to use bCash for both deposits and withdrawals.
So that's super convenient for people in Bangladesh.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Now we got to talk about the the elephant in the room,
Right.
the legal situation.
Right.
So online betting, like we said, it is technically against the law in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
but people are still doing it.
Right.
So how are they getting around this?
Well, a lot of them are using VPNs.
VPNs, so that's virtual private networks, right?
Right. And what that does is it basically masks your location.
So it makes it look like you're somewhere else, not in Bangladesh.
Exactly.
But is that risky?
Yeah, it can be.
In what way?
Well, these betting sites, they're not stupid.
Right.
They have ways of detecting if someone is using a VPN to get around their rules.
Right. So what happens if they catch you?
Well, they could suspend your account or even close it permanently.
So it's like you could lose all your money.
Yeah, potentially.
So even though the technology is there, it's not like a foolproof solution.
No, definitely not. And you really have to weigh the risks and the benefits before you go down that road.
For sure. Now, let's go back to the law itself for a second, this 1867 Gambling Act.
Okay.
What does it actually say about gambling in Bangladesh?
So basically, it says that running a gambling house, or even just visiting one, is illegal.
Right.
And betting is illegal, too.
Okay. But are there any exceptions?
Yeah, there are a couple.
Like what?
Horse racing is legal.
Really?
Yeah. And there are also some lotteries that are officially sanctioned.
Okay, so it's not like a blanket ban on everything.
No, not exactly. But the problem is the law doesn't really say anything specific about online gambling.
Which makes sense. I mean, it was written in 1867.
Right. And that's why you have the situation where people are using these offshore sites because it's kind of a gray area legally.
So there's this disconnect between the old law and the new reality of online betting.
Exactly. And it's something that the government is going to have to address at some point.
Yeah, I would think so, especially with the online market growing so much.
Oh, yeah. It's exploding.
Our source actually mentioned that during the pandemic, there was a huge surge in online betting.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. People were stuck at home looking for things to do.
Right. And it wasn't just football either.
No. What else were they betting on?
Well, cricket, of course, which is huge in Bangladesh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they even mentioned things like ice hockey.
Really? Ice hockey?
Yeah.
Wow. So people are betting on pretty much anything they can these days.
It seems that way, yeah. Now, let's talk about why someone in Bangladesh might choose to bet online rather than using more traditional methods,
Okay.
even with the legal risks.
Right.
What are the advantages of online betting?
I think the biggest one is convenience.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit before.
Right. You can just bet from anywhere, anytime. You don't have to go to a specific place.
Yeah, it's all right there on your phone or your computer.
Exactly. And you also have access to so much more information online.
Like what kind of information?
Well, you can see the odds for all the different matches and leagues.
Right.
You can compare the odds from different betting sites so you can try to get the best possible payout.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh, yeah.
So you can shop around for the best deal.
Exactly.
And there are so many different types of bets you can make online.
Oh, yeah. Way more than you would find traditionally.
Right. Like we talked about accumulator bets, handicap bets, all that stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of these sites, they even have articles and guides to help you understand all the different betting options.
Oh, cool. So they kind of educate you as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a one-stop shop for everything you need to bet on football.
Yeah, that's pretty convenient. Our source actually quoted someone as saying that online betting has made it so much easier for anyone to engage in sports wagering while having access to crucial soccer betting tips.
Yeah, that's a great quote. It really captures the whole idea of accessibility and information.
Right. It's not just about placing bets. It's about having all the tools and resources you need to make informed bets.
Exactly. And a lot of these sites, they've really worked on making their platforms super user-friendly.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It used to be kind of intimidating, but now it's a lot more straightforward.
Right. Even if you're new to online betting, you can figure it out pretty easily.
Now, obviously, security is a big concern when you're dealing with money online.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what are some of the things that these betting sites are doing to keep people's information safe?
Well, all the reputable sites are using SSL encryption.
Okay. And what does that do?
It basically encrypts the communication between your device and the site's servers.
So no one can intercept your information.
Right. It makes it much harder for hackers to steal your data.
And what about the payment methods themselves?
Well, they all offer secure payment gateways,
Okay.
and some of them are even starting to accept cryptocurrencies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which can be even more secure for some people.
Interesting. So they're really trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, they have to. Security is so important in this industry.
And it's not just about placing the bet, right? It's about the whole experience.
Right.
What are some other things that these online platforms are doing to make things better for their users?
Well, a lot of them offer live updates on the matches.
Oh,
So you can follow along and see how your bets are doing.
that's great for live betting.
Oh, yeah, it's essential. And they also tend to have pretty fast withdrawal options.
That's good. Nobody wants to wait weeks to get their winnings.
Right, and most of them have 247 customer support as well.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah, so if you ever have any problems, you can get help right away.
Okay, so it sounds like there are a lot of advantages to betting online.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Now, let's say someone in Bangladesh is thinking about trying it out.
Okay.
What are some of the most important things they should consider when choosing a betting site?
Well, I think the first thing is they need to make sure that the site is trustworthy.
How do you do that?
The best way is to check if the site has a license from a reputable authority,
Okay.
like the Multi-Gaming Authority or the UK Gambling Commission.
Right, I've heard of those.
Those are two of the biggest ones in the industry.
And why is it so important to have a license from one of those organizations?
It basically means that the site has been vetted by a third party.
Oh,
I've had to meet certain standards in terms of security, fairness, financial stability.
So it's kind of like a seal of approval.
Exactly. If a site has a license from one of those organizations, you can be pretty sure that it's legitimate.
And it's also important to remember the local laws in Bangladesh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even if a site has an international license, that doesn't mean it's legal to use in Bangladesh.
So you still have to be careful.
Yeah, definitely.
What else should people look for?
Well, a lot of sites offer bonuses and promotions.
Yeah, those can be pretty tempting.
Right. But it's important to read the fine print.
Yeah, there's always a catch, isn't there?
Usually. Like some bonuses have wagering requirements.
What does that mean?
It means you have to bet a certain amount of money before you can withdraw any winnings.
Oh, okay.
So you really have to understand the terms and conditions before you accept any bonus.
That's a good point. Don't just jump at the first offer you see.
Right.
All right, now let's talk about some specific betting sites.
Oh,
Our source actually listed a bunch of them that are popular in Bangladesh.
great.
So let's go through some of them.
Okay.
One of the biggest names is Bet365.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They've been around for a while, since 2000.
Wow, so they must be doing something right.
Right. And they have a license from the Multi-Gaming Authority.
Okay, so they're legit.
Yeah. And they're known for having a really user-friendly platform and covering a lot of different sports.
Sounds good.
Another big one is 1xBet.
Okay.
They started in 2007.
A bit newer.
Yeah. And they're really good at supporting different languages.
How many languages do they support?
Over 60,
Wow, that's impressive.
right? And they often have really good first deposit bonuses, too.
So if you're just starting out, that could be a good option.
Yeah. Okay, what else do we have here?
Well, there's Melbet.
Melbet, okay.
They started in 2012,
Okay.
and they offer a free bet to new users.
Always nice to get something for free.
Right. And they also accept cryptocurrency payments.
Oh, interesting. So if you're into crypto, that could be a good option.
Yeah. Then there's 22Bet, which started in 2017.
Okay, even newer.
Yeah. And they have some cool features like live streaming.
Oh, so you could actually watch the matches on their site.
Yeah, which is great for live betting.
Makes sense.
And they also have a cash out feature.
What's that?
It lets you settle your bet early if you're worried about how the match is going.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, so you can lock in a profit or cut your losses.
Smart.
And they have a good welcome bonus too.
Okay, so another good option for new users.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's sportsbet.io, which started in 2016 and has a license from Curacao.
Okay.
They're really focused on Bitcoin betting.
So if you're really into Bitcoin, this is the site for you.
Pretty much. And they let you create anonymous accounts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so if you're concerned about privacy, that could be a good option.
And they have a cashback program, too.
Yeah, so you can get some of your money back even if you lose.
That's always nice. Okay, who else is there?
There's Betway, which has been around since 2006.
That's one of the oldest ones.
Yeah, they're known for having really fast payouts.
That's good.
But unfortunately, they don't currently offer any bonuses for users in Bangladesh.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. And finally, there's Crickex.
Crickex. So I guess they focus on cricket.
Well, they offer betting on other sports too, but their interface is really simple and they have a good live betting platform.
Sounds good.
But they do have some limitations for users outside of India and Bangladesh.
Okay, so maybe not the best option for everyone.
Right.
Now, our source actually put together this really handy table that compares all these different sites side by side.
Oh, that's super helpful.
Yeah, it shows you the year they were established, their welcome bonus offers, their key features, all in one place.
Yeah, it's a great way to get a quick overview of the different options.
Right, so you can easily see which one might be the best fit for you. Now, they even went a step further and ranked the top 10 football betting sites in Bangladesh.
Oh, wow, let's hear it.
Okay, so number 1 is 1xBet.
Makes sense, they have a lot to offer.
Right. They have great live betting, they cover a wide range of sports, and they often have really big bonuses.
Yeah, I can see why they're number one.
Number 2 is Betway.
They're the ones with the fast payouts, right?
Yep. And they have really good customer support, too.
Okay. And what about bonuses?
They do offer free bets, so that's
Yeah.
always a plus.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 3 is Parimatch.
Okay, I'm not as familiar with them.
They're really mobile friendly, which is a big deal these days.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they have good live betting options, too.
Nice.
Plus, they offer nice first deposit bonuses.
So another good option for beginners.
Yep. All right, number 4 is Bet365.
The ones with the long history.
Yeah. And they have a really great live streaming service.
So you can watch the matches right there on their site.
Yep. And they have a huge selection of betting markets to choose from. And they also have a very generous welcome bonus.
They really want to attract new users.
It seems that way, yeah. Okay, rounding out the top 5 is 22Bet.
The ones with the cash out feature?
Yes. And they have a lot of different payment methods to choose from,
Okay.
and their withdrawals are really fast.
Good to know.
Plus, they run regular promotions for their users.
So there's always something going on.
Right. Okay, now the rest of the top 10 are Daffabet, 188Bet, Unibet, Betfair, and Betson.
Wow, that's a lot of options.
I know, right?
It's good to have so many choices, but it can also be overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. But that's why we're going through this, right?
Right, to help people narrow down their options.
Exactly. Now, our source also did more detailed reviews of a few of these sites.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they went into more detail about the bonus offers and the special features.
Okay, which ones did they highlight?
Well, they talked about Megapari.
Okay.
They have a really big bonus for new users.
How big are we talking?
Well, it depends on how much you deposit, but it can be up to 42,000 BDT.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal. And they have a simple interface, live streaming, cash out, and a lot of football betting options.
So that's like a good all-around site.
They also mentioned Baji.live.
Okay, what about them?
They have a really easy-to-use interface, and they have some nice bonuses for new players as well.
Always good to have.
And then, of course, they talked about 1xBet again.
The number one site.
Yep. They highlighted the fact that they cover a lot of sports, not just football.
Right, they're not just a one-trick pony.
And they have a lot of bonuses and promotions going on all the time.
Keeps things interesting.
And they're really popular for live betting.
Okay. What else?
They also mentioned MostBet.
Okay.
They have really good odds and bonuses.
Like what kind of bonuses?
Well, their welcome bonus is up to 35,000 BDT,
Wow, that's pretty good.
and they cover a good variety of sports as well.
Okay, so another good all-rounder.
And finally, they mentioned GBuzz.
Okay, what about them?
They're really focused on user experience.
So their site is easy to use.
Yeah, and they have a really fast sign-up process.
That's convenient.
And they have a pretty good first deposit bonus as well.
How much is it?
It's 77%.
Not bad.
So they're definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Now let's talk about banking options.
Okay.
How do people in Bangladesh actually deposit and withdraw money from these sites?
Well, like we mentioned before, Bcash is really popular.
Yeah, that's the mobile wallet, right?
Right. Apparently over 70 million people in Bangladesh use it.
Wow, that's a lot.
So it's super convenient for them to use it for online betting.
Yeah, makes sense.
And a lot of these sites, they also accept other local mobile financial services like Rocket and SureCash.
Okay, so those are all good options for local transactions.
Yeah. And then for international transactions, you've got things like UnionPay, Neteller, Skrill, PayPal, Payoneer.
Okay, so a good mix of options there.
And when it comes to withdrawals, Bcash is still really fast.
Okay, that's good.
But bank transfers are also an option, although they tend to take a bit longer.
Makes sense.
And then you've got Neteller and Skrill, which are both pretty fast for withdrawals as well.
So there are a lot of different ways to get your money on and off these sites.
Yeah, and it seems like they're always adding new options.
Right. Now, let's go back to the advantages of online football betting that we talked about before.
Okay.
Our source actually had some interesting data points that really illustrate these advantages.
Oh, that's cool. What did they say?
Well, they said that the online betting industry in Bangladesh has been growing at about 15% per year for the last 5 years.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it shows you how quickly this market is growing.
Definitely.
And they said that Bet365 Bangladesh offers like 50% more sports betting options than some of the other sites.
Wow, so if you're looking for variety, that's the place to go.
Yeah, exactly. And they also mentioned that 22Bet Bangladesh saw a 20% jump in user engagement after they made their site more mobile-friendly.
That makes sense. Everyone's on their phones these days.
Right. So if a site isn't mobile-friendly,
Yeah.
they're missing out on a lot of potential users.
For sure. What else did they say?
Well, they talked about security, and they said that Betfair Bangladesh meets like 95% of the industry standards for online safety and security.
That's really good.
Yeah, it shows they're taking security seriously.
Definitely.
And finally, they talked about customer support, and they said that 1xBet Bangladesh actually saw a 10% drop in their customer satisfaction rates because their support wasn't as good as it could be.
Oh, wow. So customer support really does matter.
It really does. If people can't get help when they need it, they're going to go somewhere else.
Makes sense.
So for anyone in Bangladesh who's thinking about betting on football online, what are some tips for success?
Well, the most important thing is to do your research.
Like what kind of research?
Well, you need to look at the team stats, the player info, recent performance, all that stuff.
So don't just bet on your favorite team.
Well, you can, but it's probably not the smartest strategy. Right.
You want to make sure you're making informed bets based on actual data.
So it's not just about luck, it's about skill, too.
Exactly. And you also need to understand the different betting markets.
Right, like the match winner market or the 1x2, where you bet on whether the home team will win, the away team will win, or it will be a draw.
Yeah. And it's helpful to analyze things like scoring frequency and head-to-head records.
Okay, so there's a lot of strategy involved.
Definitely. And you also need to understand betting odds.
Right. This can be a bit confusing.
Yeah, but they're basically a reflection of the probability of an outcome.
So the higher the odds, the less likely the outcome is.
Right. And the higher the odds, the bigger the potential payout if you win.
Okay, so it's a risk-reward thing.
Exactly. And it's especially important to understand odds in live betting because they can change really quickly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And finally, don't just bet on favorites all the time.
Why not?
Well, sometimes the odds on favorites are so low that it's not really worth the risk. Right, you might not win very much, even if you do win.
Exactly. And upsets happen all the time.
So it's good to mix things up a bit.
Definitely.
Now, mobile betting is obviously a big part of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
I mean, it's so convenient to be able to bet from anywhere, anytime.
Right. You don't have to be tied to your computer anymore.
And a lot of these sites, they have dedicated mobile apps now.
Yeah, which makes things even easier.
Right. So you can do everything on your phone, from placing bets to watching live streams.
Exactly.
Now, our source actually mentioned a few mobile betting apps specifically.
Okay, which ones?
Well, they mentioned Melbit and Bet365 for their wide sports coverage.
Okay.
They said they both cover a lot of different sports, including cricket, which is really important in Bangladesh.
Yeah, cricket is huge over there.
And they mentioned Parimatch for their in-play betting and cash-out feature.
Okay.
And they mentioned Dafabet for their user-friendly interface and their mobile promotions.
So they're really trying to cater to mobile users.
Yeah, it seems that way.
What else did they say about mobile apps?
Well, they said that a lot of apps offer real-time updates on matches.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can follow along and see how your bets are doing.
And some of them even offer offline access to certain features.
Really? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so you can still do some things even if you don't have an internet connection.
That's really convenient.
Yeah, it's a good feature to have.
And our source also put together another table that compares the key features and welcome bonuses of different mobile betting apps.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a really helpful resource for anyone who's thinking about betting on their phone.
Definitely.
Now, another really important aspect of any online service is customer support,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
especially when you're dealing with money.
Exactly.